successful grant writer, Superior Shelby, and small business development coach. If this is your first time ever being on my live stream, I want to say thank you so much for joining. I am all things about small business strategies, small business grants, how to access grants. If you don't know what a grant is, well, friend, let me tell you, it is free money that you can actually get to start your business or to scale. And I know most of you are probably thinking, in this time of 2026, there is no free anything. But I'm here to tell you that the federal government always gives out free money for small business owners so we can be able to use this money to start businesses and to scale the businesses that we have, and we can keep providing job opportunities, keep on with community development projects. You understand? So there will always be grant money. Also, not to mention, a lot of these big businesses and private investors, they invest into giving out grants for small business owners and startups like you and I, because it helps them out on the back end for their taxes. So no matter what is currently going on economically in the world, there will always be a small business grant opportunity that you can go for. In today's live stream, I'm going to tell you what a grant is, how you can find them. We're also going to talk more about some new grant opportunities you can go for. I want us to dive deeper into actually how to win these grants. So make sure you like the live stream as you're coming in, so that way the YouTube algorithm can push out this live stream to other entrepreneurs and small business owners, okay? And also, if you don't mind subscribing to my channel, I totally appreciate it. I have been on YouTube for the last 7 years talking about small business grants. I myself, I've won millions of dollars in grants for myself and my clients. Right now, I live in West Africa, so I travel the world and I talk about small business grants and grants for all types of different projects. Grants is free money that you can get, no credit checks, no personal information needed, and it's also a really great funding tool instrument that you should actually prioritize, so that way you don't have to worry about the hassles of paying any loans back. You will be surprised at how many clients I actually have that tell me in our consultations that they have already taken out hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans, even the small loans like $10,000, but they're having a challenge with paying that money back. A small business grant will give you the funding that you need to not only pay back your small business debts, but also to continue to scale and move forward from there. There are so many small business owners that actually implement grant writing in their day-to-day operations. Grants are not 100% guaranteed that you would win. However, it is so worth the effort and the time, because you're not losing out on anything at all, to be honest with you. You're not wasting your time when you're applying to a grant, because sometimes when you apply to a grant opportunity, it comes with so many additional perks and deals. Let me give you an example. There's usually an annual grant that comes around that's provided and sponsored by LegalZoom. If you don't know what LegalZoom is the third-party app that you can use to actually to develop and start your business, like getting your LLC, your EIN, and all of that good stuff. Well, LegalZoom actually sponsors a $10,000 grant for over 100 businesses every year. And what they do is, even if you were not the part of the 100 selected, to win the $10,000, they would actually still give you a $500 credit, which would allow you to actually get a free LLC. So you did not waste your time with submitting that grant application. Instead, you still received perks and deals on the back end just for simply applying. Sometimes you will also find that you are a part of these other funding communities and small business communities with other small business owners that you can market your products and service to, that you can actually have a sense of community where you can ask necessary, business development questions to help you stay on track. Applying to small business grants is not a waste of your time. And in 2026, you should actually be prioritizing applying to at least one grant a day. Think about it. If you apply to one grant a day, that's 365 grants a year. Out of the 365, friend, you should get at least 1 to 5. I'm saying it on a low scale, okay? There has been times where I have actually applied to 30 grants for a client, and they have been approved to all 30 grants. There have been times where when I've applied to over 30 grants for a client, and they did not receive not one grant reward. When we are talking about winning grants, there is a strategic way and certain tools that you need to have to professionally set you up to actually win these grant opportunities. The definition for a grant is small business grant is a reward that usually in the form of the money that you can receive from an entity like Amazon, Google, Home Depot, Etsy. You can also receive the funds from your federal government and state and local governments. So let's say you live in Miami-Dade County, or you live in Fulton County, Georgia, or you live in Houston, Texas, and they might be giving out small business grants for, whatever the project would be. And then you can also get grants from private investors, private sectors, private foundations, and nonprofit organizations that help small business owners have funding, resources, and tools so we can scale. Now, that is the actual definition of it. If you look up the definition of what a small business grant is, that is what will come up. But look at the keyword that says reward. A reward is something that you earn, right, friend? So you have to earn your free money that you're going for, and it's free money. Now, there's levels to this grant world, just like it's levels to when you're going for business funding in general. When you're going for a loan, line of credit, or a credit card, you do have certain specific documentation and assets that you have to show in order for you to be approved for those higher ticket loan opportunities, especially if you're going to go for a small business loan that's $100,000 or more. They're going to require you to have things like a good credit report, maybe have assets. They want to see what you have already invested into your business. So that way they can determine if you are a strong enough business, right? If your business is good enough to be able to start paying the debt back, right? With grants, you don't have to worry about that hassle at all. It's all about showing up and showing out for your business. What they simply want to know is, if we gave you a $100,000 grant, free money that you don't have to pay back, which is also called non-dilutive funding, then how can you reassure us that this $100,000 for free that we're going to give you is actually going to be quite impactful for your business development and also be impactful to the people you are serving? Simple, right? So the best ways for us to be able to show that is to actually have things like a business plan, a pitch deck, and a pitch video. I'm going to go dive deeper into what those documentations are and what you need to have for grants. But before I get there, let's recap. You know, a grant is a free reward, usually in a fund, in money that you can get from a business entity like Amazon or Google or LegalZoom or Apple, right? You can also get it from your state and local governments. You can also get it from a private investor, private sector, okay? So you know what a small business grant is. It's free money. There's no credit checks, no personal information needed. You don't have to worry about providing your identification or your social security number because they are not looking for your personal credit or anything like that. It's all about, what does your business do? What is your ultimate mission? How would you use the small business grant money? And how do you plan to scale from there? Okay, that's how it works. Now, you know what a grant is. I use my favorite grant website. If you guys are ready to kickstart your grant searching, journey, and you want to start applying to grants yourself, then I want you to write this down. Write down this grant search engine that is quite, I love this grant search engine, to be honest with you. It's my favorite. It's called grantwatch.com. So it's grantwatch.com. I'll put it here in the chat for you guys. Good morning, everybody. You can visit grantwatch.com. But hold on before you leave, friend. Grantwatch.com requires you to pay $50 a month as a subscription in order for you to have an active account with them so you can be able to view the details of that particular grant you're interested in. When you visit grantwatch.com, it has an AI search engine that allows you to find all the grants and helps you narrow down to the best grants in your, according to your business. It helps you find what's called high probability grants. So you would visit grantwatch.com, find grants that, according to where you're located and what your business does. And then once you actually find the grant, then you need to make sure you sign up for the subscription so it can give you the direct information that you need, like the actual application link, the deadline date, and who they are actually looking to fund this grant to. In the grant world, there can be certain grants that you might come across, especially with those grants that are targeted towards, Black-owned companies or women-owned companies. It might be quite general and quite vague in who they're funding, but it's always best that you do your due diligence and go through the terms and conditions, so that way you can reassure yourself that the actual grant is for you. That's called finding out if the grant has a high probability grant, okay? High probability grant equals Do I have a high chance at winning this opportunity? Okay, so that's what you're looking for. Grantwatch.com is my favorite grant search engine of all times. There's thousands of grants that you can find there for your, or whatever reason, but excuse me, specifically for your small business. Yes, grantwatch.com is where you can go and you can sign up. It's $50 a month or $20 a week. Okay. Now, once you have visited grantwatch.com and you have actually found grants that serve in your favor, what I suggest as a grant tip is to create your own grant list by using like an Excel spreadsheet, or whatever have you. So that way you can have a list of grants for that month and go ahead and apply to those grants, day by day. Okay. So break it up. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. Now, if you are a person that does not have the time to submit grant applications, you don't have the time to go through the terms and conditions, you don't have the time to sit down and actually learn how to search and apply to grants for your own small business, but you are quite interested in going for free funding that you know your idea deserves, then you can always hire my company to write grants for you. The link is down below in the description. You can book a one-on-one consultation with me and we can take it from there. Okay. If you have any questions, drop the questions in the chat, drop your concerns in the chat, and I'm here to answer any questions that you might have regarding grant writing, business strategies, how to develop, and all of that good stuff, okay? Now, when we're going for small business grants, it's very important that we show that we are ready for this funding. They don't want to give out grants, not even to startups that don't show that they're willing to, let's say, persevere in it through any challenge, right? Or that they are growing, right? That can't show that they're growing. There's levels to this as well. I always bring this up, but you should know what the difference between a startup and idea phases. Okay, so there's stages to business. The idea stages is when you have just thought about this idea or you've been sitting on this idea for a long time, but you have not officially registered the company through your state. You have not opened up a business bank account and you have not started operating. So you don't have like a prototype, you don't have a physical product, you have not done the necessary education or gotten the certificates for you to be able to perform the services that you're going to offer. So you just have an idea. Okay, you have an idea of starting a notary business. You have an idea of starting a child care facility. You have an idea of starting a HHA or a home health agency. You have an idea of starting a trucking company, but you have not actually gotten your CDLs. You have not actually registered your company. You have not gotten your EIN number. You have not gotten your business bank account. Okay, so for those of you who are at the idea stages, yes, there are grants for you, but you will have a lower grant opportunity. What I mean by that is there is not a lot of grants for you because in 2026, majority of these grant opportunities, they want to fund businesses that are already in operation. Okay, they want to make sure that this money is going towards a business that is going to reinvest it into hiring more people, that is going to invest into their technology so they can be more effective and efficient, that is going to help the community. Okay, that is going to be impactful. Simple. A startup is when you have already registered your company, you already have an EIN number, you already have an open bank account, and you've already started doing things like you've, let's say, ordered sample products, you have build your email list, you have started posting on social media and you're gaining followers and subscribers, you have, you've started making sales. That is what you call a startup. Once you open up your business bank account, the day you start banking is the actual operational date. Yes, it's called operational date. Start date is registration date. Sorry. A registration date is the day that you've actually registered your company through the state. But as actual operational date, right, is the day that you actually start banking. When have you started to, get some revenue through this thing? Now that's what you call traction. Okay. So there's going to be a lot more money for startups. All right. For those of you who can actually what you call show traction, who can actually show that you are building an email list, who can show that you have already ordered samples, you've given those samples out, and you actually have feedback from your family, friends, and neighbors that you've given these samples out to. For those of you who have already built your business plan, pitch deck, and your pitch video. For those of you who have already done the foundational things. If you're into e-commerce, you've already set up your e-commerce store. You've already know exactly what kind of products you're putting out there. And you also know what type of like e-commerce store you're going to have, right? So startup grant opportunities are so much more abundant than idea phases grant opportunities because they know that you are just starting and you are actually in the perfect position to show that you actually need the grant and you're going to use the grant for your building, okay, for while you're building. Small business grants. Now, small business grants, we have tons of them. There is an abundant opportunity there as well, okay? You will find more small business grants than you would for startup grants. And let me explain to you. Small business owners like myself are business owners who have usually been in business for at least 2 years or more. This is the new definition of it, okay, in 2026. And regarding grant applications. So you've been in business for at least 2 years or more. You have already been generating sales or revenue. You have an email list build up. You actually have traction. You can show growth. All right. The last 2 years, this is what you've been doing. You can actually show the ebbs and flows of your actual business. You have payroll. You have a payment processing system that you can actually show, hey, and during these months, these are slow months. These are our, our good months, right? Small business owners have a lot more funding opportunities because we're already generating revenue. So we have like opportunities through like capital loans. A capital loan is when you can receive a loan based off of the percentage of capital that you usually receive on an annual basis. So let's say you make $10,000 a month, that's $120,000 a year. They might go ahead and give you a $10,000 loan, right? And you would usually see those capital loans through your payment processors that you're using like Stripe and PayPal. And then we also have more other funding opportunities as well because we can use our, proof of sales, right? Or proof of income to show that we can actually pay debts back. On the grant side, we also have a higher chance at winning grants because we show that we are already in operations. We actually can show a higher need for the grant versus a startup. For example, I have a team of 10, right, that actually writes grants and takes on, calls and all kind of stuff, right? Versus someone who might just be starting in the grant business and it's only just them, a one-person company. Well, I show more need for the grant because I also know that not only am I going to use the grant for payroll, but I'm also going to use the grant to increase like my training for the people that I have on payroll as well. So I can explain more about how I would use the money, right? So you determine where you are, what stage you are in your company. If you are in the idea phases, the small business phase, the startup phase and the small business phase, and then you determine. Now, for those of you who are like full-on business enterprises, of course, you do have those grant opportunities as well. You have higher ticket grants, I would call them. So those are the grants that are $400,000 and more. You have been operating for well over 5 years. You make, let's say, less than $2.5 million annually, or you make around that, right? So you have a lot of those grants for those type of businesses are more of like first come, first serve. A lot of those grants are actually federally funded, okay? So that's how that works. Now, there are different types of grants out here, small business grants. Now, the grants that you would actually get from like other businesses like Amazon, Apple, Google, those grants are more nationwide opportunities for the entire United States of America. So what that means is the competition level is going to be much higher. You are not the only one that is actually going to be applying to that grant because that grant is literally for all small business owners. Let's take, for example, the $25,000 UPS grant. The $25,000 UPS grant is for all small business owners. I've talked about this grant once before, and if you haven't seen that grant yet, or you don't know about that $25,000 grant, don't worry, friend. I have a small video, like 5 to 10 minute video on it. So make sure you go and refer to that video to learn more, and also click that link in the description so you can directly apply. Or if you want me to apply, then I'm all here for you. Okay. Now, the $25,000 UPS grant is for all small business owners. That's based in the United States. That means everyone from every industry has a chance at potentially winning this $25,000 opportunity, which means that there's higher competition. With grants like that are nationwide, that are for a majority of different business industries, different ethnic groups, and different states, right, and cities, Well, on average, those grants get on average 2,000 applications. And I'm saying that as a minimum. All right, as a minimum, it's about 2,000 applications. So with you understanding that, while I'm not taking away, not saying you should not apply to those grants, definitely give yourself a chance. Those grants are more, they operate more like a lottery. Think of it like a scratch off. The more that you actually play, right? The more parlays you put in, the more higher chances you would get at potentially winning. You understand what I'm saying? It's a consistency with those type of grants. It's like a lottery. It's like a scratch off. It's like a raffle ticket. Okay. So for those grants that are funded by those big companies like Amazon and UPS and FedEx and Stripe and DoorDash and stuff like that and Santander, those type of grants are nationwide. They're for everybody. And when you take a look at who the previous winners from 2025, 2024, all the way up into the COVID years, let's say 2020, all the way up into now, you can actually determine what type of business that they majority choose as winners. There's one $100,000 grant that I Fund Women does every year. I Fund Women is a funding company specifically for women entrepreneurs. They offer loan opportunities as well as grant opportunities. I Fund Women is a really great, company to or community to join because they also offer business resources. Now, I Fund Women with their $100,000 sponsored grant that they do every year. I noticed that they like to choose a lot of women-owned companies that has something to do with nurturing. So let's say mother nurturing, anything that has something to do with babies and moms, they would choose one winner for that. They would choose one winner in tech. So most likely when we're talking about tech, it's going to be something in health tech or fintech. And then I also noticed from their past winners for the last 5 years of them doing this, was that their third place winner would be someone that's in like the beauty industry. My business is all about, small business development, doing small business strategies with you, making sure your business catch sales, making sure your business has the grant funding it deserves, making sure that your business is properly, the foundations are set, right? So that's what my business is all about. I run and own a small business development consultancy. So for me to win that type of grant, would I apply to it? Yes, I would still apply to it and still give it a chance. However, I'm also reassuring myself that if I was not chosen, that's okay, because I took a look at the winners, the past winners for that particular opportunity, and I reassure myself and I noticed that, okay, these are the majority winners that they're actually choosing for that particular opportunity. So I just wanted to tell you guys how that works. Now, with the state funded grants are more of those first come, first serve opportunities. Yeah, those are the grants that you want to look for, friend. Those are your favorite grants. Because as long as you simply apply and you live in that particular area, you pretty much get it. First dibs, first come, first serve. So I'm from Miami. So in, let's say, Broward County, which is Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Broward County has a lot of small business grant opportunities that are funded by other foundations. So a lot of those opportunities that you will see, they're like $10,000 opportunities and less. Even though they start on the lower end, $500, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, let's say up to $20,000. That's the most I've seen. They're still first come, first serve opportunities. That's still a $500, $2,000, $5,000, or $10,000 grant opportunity or money that I did not have in my business bank account. So why not simply submit a grant application for it, receive the free money, and also the recognition of my, area or of my county when we're talking about like, promotions and stuff. I actually went for a Broward County grant. I was able to receive a $5,000 grant opportunity through their Small Business Development Council. And they do like this whole entire ceremony thing, which is really cool. Like, I mean, nobody shows up but like everybody who participated, but you still get that recognition. So now on some grant opportunities and grant applications, some of these grant applications want to know, what is your business achievements? Well, I get to say, through my actual county, and in Broward County or in South Florida, I was able to receive a $5,000 grant for being a small business owner or for helping out in this community, small business community space, and teaching others about financial literacy and teaching them about other financial opportunities that they have aside from business debts like loans, lines of credit, and credit cards and stuff. So showing that achievement on a grant application actually increases your chances even more because it shows growth and it shows someone else also like agrees with what you're doing, right? And it was a grant opportunity. But that grant opportunity was not really so much as a competition. It was a first come, first serve opportunity. And all I did was follow along the guidelines. I'm a Black entrepreneur. I'm a woman entrepreneur. So I'm a minority entrepreneur. I'm located in South Florida. I live in, at the time, I was living in Broward County. And what else was the requirements? You had to, your business had to be something that was like in the financial space. So I explained how I've been on YouTube for 6 years talking about small business grants, free information for everyone. I have, over 50,000 subscribers and counting. I have been able to help this many clients in the last couple of years. I've been doing this during COVID. These are the things that I've experienced, but I was still able to persevere and help this amount of clients. And this is how much money I've actually won from grants just from helping other people, right? And so all I had to do was simply explain to them what my story was, what's my mission, am I doing this, right? And, complete the rest of the application that shows that I qualify because I live in that area. Now, it was me and 4 others that won, and it's simply because we applied. Now, I got really cool with one of the judges, and she explained to me, hey, like, not a lot of small business owners in Broward County actually submitted the grant application for this grant. So you guys kind of like literally had like all dibs on this. It was myself. It was a Haitian business owner. He did CMOS. It was another woman who she was like Indian, right? But she was running like this Indian restaurant. Very nice woman. And it was another woman from the Caribbeans. I think she was Jamaican, right? So we all won because we simply applied and we knew about grants. But that also continued to educate me about how in South Florida and specifically in Broward County, not a lot of small business owners know about small business grants. Especially coming from South Florida, we're all about like fast money, quick money. What can I get right now? Grants can take a while. That particular grant that I was talking about that was state funded, well, it took me 6 weeks to get approved for that small amount of money that I received, right? So that's how that worked. Each grant opportunity has their own grant timeline. I'll go into talking about that later. But I just wanted to show you guys the difference between going for a grant that is funded by, like, let's say a big company like UPS, FedEx, Amazon, Apple, Google, Nike. Those are nationwide opportunities. They would have higher, more applications. You would have, more competitors on those grants versus the grants that are state funded. Now, how do you find the grants that are state funded? Okay. You can visit grantwatch.com. All right. So I've already put the link in the chat for you. You can visit grantwatch.com. You can find those state funded grants as well. But you can also visit grants.gov. If you are a business that is 5 years and older, you want to do business with the government, right? Grants.gov, that is where you will go. Also sam.gov for like government contracts. But grants.gov, that's a free government website. You find a lot of federally funded grants, state funded grants there. But also a more efficient way, an effective way of finding grants that are in your local area that is state funded would be to do a simple Google search. So you would ask Google, find me small business grants located in Fulton County, Georgia. Okay. And then what Google will do is it will bring up a list of different foundations that usually give out grants for small business owners in your area. And then you can go ahead into those links and read more about their grant programs and who are they funding, and reassure yourself if those grant programs align with your business mission. All right. So that's how you find those grants for state funded and state and local government funded opportunities for small business owners. Now, moving forward, you do have grants that are sponsored by private investors, private sectors, and other big business owners that helps them on the back end for their taxes, and also foundations and nonprofits like Hello Skip. Hello Skip is also an app you can download, all right, that you can use to find grants. It's not really a grant search engine like grantwatch.com. It's a business resource app, right? So you can market your business there. You can do so much on that app, okay? So you can visit there. They have a dashboard of a couple of grants that are available. So if you see a grant that you qualify for, you can simply apply through their app. So Hello Skip. So Hello Skip is a nonprofit organization that gives out a $10,000 grant every month. So they use their donations that they receive for small business owners, and the social media revenue that they get from YouTube and stuff. They use all of that and they share that revenue with you all, right? They share that in a form of a grant. So, and they partner up with other small business owners and other companies to be able to give and fund that monthly small business grant that they're giving out, right? So that is one way that you can get a grant. They do have some of their own requirements. So Hello Skip is one that I can give you that you can find a grant that is privately funded and that is funded by another foundation, a nonprofit. Okay. So yeah, those are the difference of the grants. Now, when we're talking about finding high probability grants, it's important that you know how to actually be ready, set, go for grant opportunities and like increasing your chances of winning. Some of you all have been applying to grants for a very long time and you have not received not one opportunity. But it's important that you reassure yourself that you are actually your answers are aligning up with the grant mission and your answers are like to the T. Okay. Some of you all are like using ChatGPT. You know, you are more than welcome to do that. What I advise with ChatGPT and with using AI, as far as and with helping you with your answers, don't allow ChatGPT to give you the full answer. Instead, prompt ChatGPT or prompt AI in a way that would help you suggest, right? Give you suggestions on how to enter the grant application yourself. Essentially, what the grantors are looking for is they actually want to know your story. And so ChatGPT doesn't know your story. What I would use AI for is for spelling and grammar, rearranging my answer to make sure it sounds, good, right, and professional, but still making sure it carries on the feel and of what I'm trying to say, right? So that's what I would use AI for as far as in like submitting the grant application. So finding high probability grants, what that takes is that actually takes you to read that small fine print that says terms and conditions. When you visit the grant and you visit when you click on the link and you go to the actual grant link, you come to what's called the grant introductory page. The grant introductory page is the page that tells you the name of the grant, what the grant mission is, when's the grant application deadline date, how much money they're giving out, and who qualifies for the grant. Okay, so you will find all of this good stuff by visiting the grant information page. Okay, introduction page. Now, when you scroll down, usually when you scroll down a little bit, you will see the FAQs, which is frequently asked questions. You can go through the frequently asked questions, which are really good questions that will help you understand more about the grant, what they're funding, who they're funding, right? What projects they're funding, why they're giving out the money, who qualifies for it. So those types of questions will be in the FAQs. And then if you want to know how the grant judges are actually going to judge your answers on the application, you have to go into the terms and conditions. Now, the terms and conditions is usually at the very bottom of the page or somewhere within the grant mission, which is them explaining what the grant program is about. It will be very small hyperlink that you can click on. When you click on it, it usually brings up a separate tab or takes you to another page where it will be a list of rules. It's terms and conditions. It's usually in the form of a PDF, or they might have like invested into like a whole nother site for it. Now, in this PDF or on the terms and conditions, you would actually find all the information you need to know about this grant. Okay, who funded the grant, why they're funding it, how long they've been funding it, what are they requiring after you have received the grant reward, how many people and how many small businesses are they actually going to fund out of this grant money, right? How often are they going to give this grant fund out? So you come to find out in the terms and conditions that the application deadline date for the springtime might be March 20th, but then you have another chance at potentially applying, let's say starting June for the summer, and then the application deadline date for the June round would be like, let's say September. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. I'm so happy that you're here with me this morning. It's such a blessing. Make sure you like the live stream so the YouTube algorithm can push out more of these videos. Okay. We on here. All right. So with that being said, okay, the terms and conditions is a very vital part in you knowing, or you having the reassurance that you need for this grant to know, if this is a high chance, or if you have a high chance at actually winning it. All right. Inside of the terms and conditions will also be what's called grant guidelines or grant judgment guidelines. The grant judgment guidelines, right? This is the beautiful piece of that terms and conditions that you actually need to know, because it tells you the 4 key points that they're looking for in your answers. In most cases, what they're looking for is, can you show a need for the grant? What does that mean? Good question. Can you show a need for the grant? So can you explain to us how you, like, what is the need for the grants, how you're going to use the money, right? And how impactful this is going to be. So they want to know is, with you taking the $100,000 grant and investing the money into these key areas that you said in your answer, how impactful will it be? That lets us know that you're showing us a need for the grant. So let me give you an example. With this $100,000 grant opportunity that you guys are providing, I will invest into 4 key points in my business development: payroll, technology. So let's say software upgrades. Another one would be, so payroll, technology, marketing. All right. A lot of people need money for marketing, and let's say product development. So maybe I want to increase the quality of the product that I already have. Okay. With me investing into softwares and technology, it allows me to have a more effective and efficient communication with my customers, allow me to have certain automations put into place, so that way I don't have to manually email my clients and let them know that they have a confirmation, or send an email confirmation letting them know that we have received their money and that we are shipping out their product. Payroll allows me to have the necessary team members to be able to perform the development of the product, so I don't have to physically develop the product all the time. Having someone on payroll also shows community support, because I'll be hiring persons that have been previously incarcerated, that might have experience, that might not have experience, but I'm helping them like develop a new skill, right? So I will show commitment to my community by doing so in that way. Marketing. All businesses need help. All businesses need a marketing budget. With this $100,000, we'll be able to put money, let's say $25,000, into our marketing budget, which would allow us to run things like ads, and then we'll be able to determine what our conversion rate looks like. And last but not least, we'll be able to invest some of this $100,000, let's say another $25K. You can put numbers to it. Putting numbers to it and putting percentages to it always looks strong in your answer. So 25% or 25,000, whatever you want to say, we'll put another 25% of this $100,000 grant opportunity into product development, which will allow us to have a higher quality product, which will then increase our feedback, from our clientele. There you go. When you are able to explain that to them and you're showing how it will be impactful, then that shows a need for the grant. Secondly, they want to know, a lot of the times is, clarity. So are you clearly defining, your business mission? All right. Do we clearly understand the whole entire purpose of you starting this school for newborns? You know what I mean? Do we understand the reasons for why you are developing this fintech app that's going to help in stocks? Do we clearly understand why you started this trucking company? Clarity. All right. Now, be careful with clarity, because it determines your business mission. Your business mission needs to be something that is very community driven. If you are a person that's like, I need this $100,000 because I want to start a trucking company, that's what I want to do. And with me starting a trucking company, I'll be able to feed my family. I'll be able to come home on the weekends. I'll be able to do whatever I need to do. You have no strong business mission. You're selfish. Simple. And it is something wrong with it, but in the business world, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But when you're going for grant opportunities, grants want to fund a community impactful business, a business that shows that they actually care about their customers and clientele that they're actually attracting. So saying things like, I want to use this $100,000 to be a part of an industry that is consistently growing, to show reliability and consistency with getting products to and from locations rapidly and effectively. With me being a part of this industry, it allows me to not only learn new skills, but also provide other opportunities for others that might want to get into this industry as well. Truck driving has been around for years, for ages. And with me being a part of a growing community, it allows me to have a sense of union, all of this good stuff, right? So you need to show in your answers. If you are going for a grant for your trucking company, you don't want to say that I'm going to use this money just so I can buy a truck. How is that going to be impactful to your clientele? Your clientele is most likely other businesses, right? B2B companies. So how are you going to show commitment to them? I'm going to do cheaper loads. You understand? I'm going to do cheaper loads. I'm only going to service St. Louis area. I'm only going to service Memphis, Tennessee area. I'm only going to service the southern states, right? So, which will allow me and my company to do quicker routes at a cheaper amount. You understand? So how are you going to be impactful and community driven for the community of people that you're actually going to be servicing? And that is B2B, right? So even if you have a trucking company, or you're wanting to start a trucking company, or even if you wanted to get into real estate and you wanted to start into real estate, right? And you want to use a grant opportunity for that, it needs to be community driven. No, they're not going to give you a grant just because you want to be able to start your real estate company so you can do fix and flips or you can do Airbnbs. No. Instead, how are you going to show commitment to the people that you're actually putting into those short-term rentals? Or, like how are you going to be community driven? One way you can show that is actually, one way you can show that is saying, hey, I want to get into real estate. And one of the key reasons for why we're actually getting into real estate and we're doing, or let's say, short-term rentals, is so we can provide those spaces for persons with disabilities, especially those who have children or family members that have, cognitive declines like ADHD or autism. We noticed that in the short-term rental space, even on the Airbnb app, that they don't have an option to be able to show, Airbnbs that accept those, parents or those families that have an autistic child. Instead, what we want to do is we want to have about 10 homes that will have the necessary safety measures specifically for those types of, residences, right? That's a different way of saying things. Instead of saying, I'm going to use this $100,000 so I can be able to start my Airbnb business. And once I start the Airbnb business, what's going to be impactful is I'm going to be able to provide short-term rentals and, short-term stays and comfortable luxury stays by putting all of this nice stuff that I bought from Wayfair and from Home Goods, and making them feel like very cozy, because I also have some very expensive candles that have a scent of peppermint and all this good stuff that's going to make them feel like at home. No, that's not strong enough, because that's not showing any type of growth. That's not showing any passion. Your ultimate mission is just to make money from Airbnb. While of course you are a business and you are for profit, so you are supposed to make profits, but it's about how are you showing commitment to your residences. Well, we not only offer the space that you can actually stay in, but we also have other things that additions that come with our short-term rentals. We notice that a lot of people that come into our city, after us doing the necessary studies, that a lot of these people are coming into Orlando and they're going to Disney. So not only are we providing them a comfortable space and so much that they can take advantage of in our home, but we're also giving them a percentage off on Disney World tickets, so they can enjoy free breakfast with Mickey and Minnie you know what I mean? The next morning and continue to grow memories together as a family. That is what it is. What is your mission? And when they're saying clarity, can you can you clarify? Clearly tell us exactly what's the mission here. Why are you doing this? Okay, I showed you guys a quick video yesterday. If you weren't on my live stream yesterday, I showed you a video yesterday of a Black woman entrepreneur. She owns an app that helps kids in high school actually admit into college and find colleges and go through that whole entire process. And if you've been to college, right? You know that the process of applying to FAFSA and all this good stuff, finding scholarships, it can be a hassle. Well, she actually created the app to make that entire process seamless and easy. It's like literally step by step on her app. So she has an entire purpose for doing that. It's going to allow a lot of the children that are in high school to not feel frustrated and flustered when trying to find the best colleges to go to, trying to budget for that entire time, getting themselves prepared. Instead, it allows them to have a full platform that they can use on their phone that is quite easy. Everybody's on their phone, and they can be able to sign themselves up. It's a free platform, and they can find colleges that they're most interested in, right? Her mission makes sense. All right. It's very impactful. It's going to help a lot of students who don't know, right? And even their parents don't know, right? They might be the first one to go to college in their family. So they who don't know how to go on the FAFSA site and apply for financial aid and go for scholarships and stuff like that, right? So it's her app is very mission driven. You clearly was able to see in that video yesterday, her 1 minute and 49-second video. So that's less than a 2-minute pitch video. You were able to actually see and understand exactly what the app does, like what she's doing. She used simplified words. She was very direct, and she told a story. Most children that are coming out of their home, they might be the first generation college, college students. And so a lot of our kids that are, a lot of the kids at this age, they would in 11th grade, they would start thinking about the schools that they want to go to. But the problem is a lot of those children might not go to the school or go to college or whatever because they don't know the process. But that's the whole entire purpose of creating this app. So that video, which was only 1 minute and 49 seconds, it was just enough for us to understand exactly what she does. When you are submitting your grant applications and you are answering those questions, make sure you are clearly identifying what the entire mission is. Why? Why? Okay. Why do we need your services and products? Why is it needed in the market? Okay. So clarity. And then can you have you another thing I've been able to see on grant applications as far as in like how they're judging you is like clearly explaining your traction, right? So showing growth. So showing growth. This is more than just saying, oh, we're in our startup phases. We haven't caught sales yet, but we plan to do this. No, those days are over. They want to know, what have you done so far? Okay. So you can say things like, so far we've been able to not only do the basic things like the basic foundations of our business, but we've also moved forward with opening up our website. So our website is currently active and live. And so far we've been able to get a traffic foot on our website of about 50 people within 14 days. And out of those 50 people, we've probably been able to catch one sale. We've also, done things like free samples to our neighboring, let's say to our community. And we have also received feedback as well. We put those videos on our website so we can continue to attract those that are in our community to our clients and our customers, right? So showing growth. I never said that you caught sales. I just said, what you did to show growth. Like, what are you doing so far to try to put yourself out there? So it's not all about sales, but sales does increase your chances of approval with a grant. Absolutely. If you can show, hey, we started out and within our first 30 days, we was able to make $1,000 to $2,000. After that, the next 30 days after that, we scaled to 5,000. And then now we are finally making we finally reached our first $10,000 month or close to $10,000. Our goal is to make $10,000 every month for our first years of operations. When you can say something like that and you're already showing growth. Okay. So When you are saying sales is going to always be a stronger point to help you increase your chances of approvals, okay? But that does not mean don't apply to the grant opportunity. That does not mean you don't even have a chance. No, that doesn't. That just simply means that you need to do better with your answers on how you organize the actual answer itself and how you're actually letting them know. Okay. If you need help with this, if you don't have time to submit the answers, if you don't have time to sit down and think about this because you're trying to develop the product itself, focus on the service itself, you are doing so much for your business. It's okay. I do submit grant applications for you. I have an entire team. I've been doing this for 11 years. I've won millions of dollars in grants. Okay. So if that's something you're interested in, drop it in the chat. Also, you can click the link in the description below and book a one-on-one consultation with me. I'll be here to help you out. Okay. I'll put my number in the chat if that's something that you guys want as well. I'll put my number inside the chat. You can simply text #grants to my number and I will be here for you. Any questions or concerns that you have, I'll answer them for you. Okay. So every small business, every business idea is worthy of a small business grant. It's just all about how you're actually submitting the application and making sure that you are actually prepared for these types of opportunities. It's no point of you actually going for a loan opportunity, a line of credit, a credit card, business credit card, when you're not prepared for it. You might think I need funding, so I'm going to go for a $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 loan opportunity just because this person on Instagram said, oh, I can get a free $50,000 business loan without even having to show revenue, without even having to show that I have an LLC. It sounds good, but keep in mind that those are business debts. Now, you can be a person that likes to be into fraud and you might want to just take on the 50K and go ahead and splurge on yourself. Take your whole entire family on a trip to the Maldives. Cool. That's not who I'm talking to. But for the people who are thinking about going for those 50K loan opportunities where you don't even have to have an EIN, keep in mind that there are certain documentation you still have to provide to show that you are prepared for that type of opportunity. Now, you might not need an EIN or you might not need an LLC for that, but trust and believe you're going to have a strong credit report. You're going to have to be able to show that you have assets. You're going to have to show that you have some personal income so that way you can be the personal guarantor for that particular loan opportunity. So many people on Instagram are saying, get a $25,000 loan right now. You don't even have to show any business revenue, but you have to make sure that your personal credit is where it needs to be. Me, I don't like going through those things because the credit system, especially for Black Americans, is so messed up. All right. It's been like that since 1942. And I'm not saying that because of the drink. I don't even drink. So, you know what I mean? It's not because it's just been like that the entire time. It's been a system that has been against us as minorities, even as a woman, even if you're a white woman. It's always been against you, hun. Okay. It's just never been for us. So no matter how hard you try to scale with credit, especially for minorities and Black Americans specifically, we always have to feel the pressures and the fire behind it. We can apply to one credit card and it can drop us down 25 points versus our white counterparts that can apply to 5 credit cards and you only see one inquiry and it'll only drop them like 10 points. So we are much more affected in the credit world. And that's why I don't like talking about loans, lines of credit, and credit cards. And I'm totally against it because there is free money opportunities out here that we can go for. You just simply need to know about them, which is what I'm teaching you on YouTube for free. You need to know how to access them, which is also what I'm teaching you on YouTube for free. And you also need encouragement to apply. Like I said before, if you simply don't have the time to apply to grants because you're actually operating in your business or you're raising up the funds to start your business, I totally understand. That's why I offer the service to do it for you. But also, if you're someone who actually has the time to submit at least one grant application a day, then take this free education that I'm giving you and really use it, as much as possible. Ask as many questions as you can. I love an interactive chat on YouTube live stream because it allows you guys to answer questions that maybe other people was thinking about. And let's be interactive. Any of your questions or concerns about any grant applications you submitted or your experience of submitting grants or whatever have you, you can always drop it in the chat. But keep in mind that this is free information and I'm here for you the entire grant writing journey so I can help you win. Okay. So last but not least, is the entire application done in its entirety. Okay, so that's usually what they're looking for in the judgment. Reading the terms and conditions when you visit the grant introductory page, and I'll go back here because some of you guys are just coming in, so make sure you like the live stream as you're coming in. Now, what I was just talking about before you guys came in was I was talking about how to find what's called high probability grants, how to actually increase your chances of winning, how to actually win a grant. Okay. Now, to give you guys a recap, a grant is free money that you can get. There's no credit checks, no personal information needed. You don't have to provide your like social security number, none of that stuff. They simply want to know what your business mission is, what you would use the money for, how impactful would it be if you were to receive the money. Okay. You can get this free money from like anywhere, any big business. Let's say Amazon gives out a $10,000 grant every month. You can get a grant from right now UPS, $25,000 grant. FedEx gives out a $10,000 grant. Home Depot gives out millions of dollars a year. Google, like Apple, these big companies give out grants. However, when you're going for those big company grants, right, those grants where they're giving out that all that money, those grants are nationwide grants. What I mean by that is your competition for that particular grant is going to be higher because that grant is for all small business owners in the United States of America. So on average, those grant applications or that grant type gets on average a bare minimum of about 2,000 applications. So does that mean don't apply to them? No, that just means that those grants operate more like a raffle ticket. Okay. But we still have a chance of winning. So don't even discourage yourself. Okay. Secondly, you can get funded by a grant through your state and local government. So let's say you live in Fulton County, Georgia, which is essentially Atlanta, Georgia, okay, or DeKalb or any of the surrounding counties, right? And they might be giving out a $10,000 grant to all women, Black women entrepreneurs that are located in, I don't know, Kennesaw or DeKalb County or whatever have you. Well, that is a state-funded grant that is essentially funded from the federal government. Now, you can do a simple Google search when we're searching for those type of grants. You will be more effective in doing a Google search. You're going to go to google.com and say, find me grants that is located, or that is for my women's small business or my Black-owned company located in Fulton County, Georgia, or Miami-Dade County, right? And Google is going to bring up different links of foundations that you can go to. And you would simply go into that foundation, learn more about that grant program, and see what type of businesses or projects that they're actually funding. Are they funding more nonprofits than for-profits? So you get the gist. You would actually reassure yourself on what that program is funding at the time. Now, state-funded small business grants are more of a first-come, first-serve opportunity. Those grants are just like, as long as you apply, friend, you pretty much got it, okay? We love the first-come, first-serve opportunities simply because it's not really much competition. We don't have to work hard for it. Okay, we just need to provide documentation. That's usually like a business plan, a pitch deck, and a pitch video. Okay, sometimes it's a pitch competition. A pitch competition is when you are standing in front of judges and you are simply talking about what your product and service does and how impactful your business would be or your product or service would be if you were rewarded that particular opportunity. Right, so that's what that's about. So you would see some pitch competitions on that end. And then also you can get funded by any other foundations. So, you know, nonprofits and small, like small business foundations, funding companies, right, that will actually want to give out the money as well. Now, when you visit the grant websites, right, so you can visit grantwatch.com to find a grant that serves in your favor. Once you visit grantwatch.com, it is a $50 a month subscription. But once you find a grant that you like, you click on the link and it's going to bring up what's called a grant introductory page. The grant introductory page is going to tell you everything that you need to know about the grant. It's going to tell you exactly what the grant timeline is, what's the deadline date to submit the application, who they're looking for, so who qualifies for the grant, and what's the whole purpose of the grant program, okay? So all of that information is on what's called the grant introductory page. Now, when you scroll down to the FAQs, the frequently asked questions, or somewhere on the page, you would see the terms and conditions. Going into the terms and conditions is really going to reassure you on how the grant is going to judge you, like how the grant judges are going to judge you, what they're actually looking for on your answers. I get this frequently asked question all the time. What do I need to have for grant writing? Or how do you apply to a grant? Well, how you apply physically is you visit grantwatch.com, you find a grant, and you submit the application. That's physically how you do it. But I believe what you guys are asking is, how can I be best prepared for these grant answers, right? How do I know what they're looking for on the grant application? Here are going to be two key tips that I can give you. One, go through the application first before you submit it. Go through the application first. When you go through the application first, if it allows you to skip through, it will reassure you on whether or not you need to have a 1-minute pitch video, executive summary, any additional documents before you even submit the application. Okay. 2, the grant terms and conditions. The terms and conditions is going to tell you what you need to have specifically in your answers to increase your chances of approvals, which is what we just went over. Okay. All right. Do I have any questions about what we just went over? I just told you how to find high probability grants as well as like how to actually win. High probability grants means finding grants that you have a high chance at winning. So that's what we just went over. I want to know, do you guys have any questions? I want to thank you guys so much for being inside of the chat with me. Hey, everybody. Yes, blessings to all of you guys. Your business imagination is unmatched. Thank you. Glory to God. We also talked about traction, right? In 2026, when going for small business funding, please, 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 please know that it's so important for you to show business growth. It's more than just having your LLC and your business bank account. It's more than that, okay? Friend, what have you been doing for your business? Seriously. And if this is a conversation that you're not ready to have, if it's something that you're like, I already know what to do, then why haven't you done it? You understand? Now, y'all know I'm a Christian. I'm a true believer, okay? Some of y'all, you need to pray. You ain't putting God first, period. I've talked about this one time before, but I'll bring this up. You guys know Pinky Cole, the woman that owns Slutty Vegan and her husband owns Dave's Hot Dogs and stuff, right? So she put a post out and she said, being an entrepreneur is a spiritual journey. And this is so true. All right. I'm going to wrap it up here by saying this. Putting God first is going to always be your best bet. Okay. And it is a faith driven journey. What I mean by that is it takes faith, a lot of faith and a lot of courage to leave your stable income, which will be your job, and to actually full time believe in your idea and go for it. It is that. I have been doing this for 11 years. I have cried through this, and I have went through so much in my life within these 11 years of doing this. I started this business in a relationship that was broken, that I was being manipulated in. I went through so much, it personally in this entire journey, that I have been tested time and time again. But I kept persevering and I kept moving forward and I kept believing and I kept having faith. I left my home country, right, which is the United States. I left Miami, Florida. I left my parents. I left all that I knew and moved to another country. I moved to Latin America and I was all by myself. And I stayed there for about 2 years. And I still believe that even living in another country, God will still provide. I still have faith that I can still get on YouTube. I can still keep doing. I can still keep pushing these grants. Even during COVID, I still kept going. Even during these economic times right now, you seeing me on this live stream, I'm right now, I live in West Africa, right? I thank God for my husband. I'm married, all that good stuff on the personal side. I live all the way in West Africa. I have already reached out to YouTube, and YouTube told me because of my location, because of where I am, I'm in Nigeria. So because I am in Nigeria, that the YouTube algorithm is not going to give me the usual reach or the reach that I would receive when I'm back at home in the US. So what that means is, on average, just to let everybody know on here, on average, when I'm back at home in Florida, we getting 1,000 people in here. It's like 1,000 people inside of here, because this is the topic. Small business, anything business, we all on it over there in the US. But here, because I'm located in Nigeria and I'm streaming live from Nigeria, it has effects to let's say, the algorithm, as far as in pushing this information out as much as possible to people who are in the US. And that's simply because of the internet connectivity, right? The internet here is not as strong and fast and resilient as the internet that we experience in the US, okay? So because of, even with me knowing that, they actually confirmed that in the email, and I made a community post about it. You can go check it out. Even with me living in a whole nother continent, for real, like I'm on the other side of the world, I still have faith and keep persevering. I still get up and I still like do these YouTube live streams. I still speak and have consultations by the grace of God. Glory be to God. Seriously. This is a spiritual journey. Entrepreneurship is not a journey where you just like, oh, okay, it's logic, reasoning. Yes, it does take, it takes you to sit down and strategize, but it is the spirit behind that strategy that actually gives you the motivation to move forward. It's the spirit. You understand? This the another way that I want you to look at it is, if big business owners, like the most richest people in the world, like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and all of these other people, if they themselves have already like confirmed and told you guys that they do things like specific rituals and certain things for them to have the wealth that they have, what makes you think that you yourself don't like this is not a spiritual journey for you? No, it's everything in life is spiritual. You understand? Down to the food you eat, down to what you entertain yourself with on social media, everything is spiritual. That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But regarding entrepreneurship, it is truly a spiritual journey. And it's very important that for those of us that are Christian believers, that is a part of the body of Christ, you must keep God first. God has been the one for the last 11 years keeping me. There has been months where I have made $0 and I still kept moving, kept getting on live stream every day. Matter of fact, I even told myself that even if, like, let's say, and God forbid, but let's say I experienced like the whole entire February, none of my clients pay for their subscriptions, none of my clients come for their coachings, none of my clients, like, if all of my clients decided to just go right in this month of February, I will still consistently get on YouTube, because I've made it my business this month, like every day, let's get on YouTube. I will still get on YouTube. I will still offer free education. I would still offer my service. I would still persevere because I still have faith and believe. I know where my help come from. Do you know how serious that first part of Psalms, where it says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." That "I shall not want" means I will never lack. I'll never go hungry. That's what that means. So becoming an entrepreneur is more than just, if you keep telling yourself, I don't know why I just can't, like, I know how to start the business, I paid for the courses, I did the courses, I joined the girl community, I joined their Discord, I have all this information, but I don't know why it's hard for me to start the business, or I don't know why it's hard for me to scale the business. Or you might be in a headspace where it's like, I have done all of this for this business, I got the samples, I got the product, I got the prototype, I got this, I've already started the YouTube channel, I have already started the Instagram, and nothing is moving. That's because you ain't prayed. That's because you have not prayed, friend. Yes, you have to. It takes a spirit. It takes a spirit of faith, a spirit of belief into it. And the problem is you being lukewarm with your business. You can't be lukewarm. You're either gonna be hot or cold. Simple. And you keep giving your business a cold shoulder, and that's why it's not moving forward for you. You got to be Holy Ghost fire with yours. Seriously, you every day I'm like that about this business. I thank God that I have been delivered and that I have been able to do this for 11 years. Let me tell you, this 11-year journey has been a journey. I have experienced miscarriages and all kind of stuff, y'all. It has been a journey. I lost people during this entire 11 years, and I still came on here. For those of you know, some of y'all have even seen me cry on YouTube on live stream because my grandma just died, or because I've experienced this. Some of y'all have actually been here for me and have actually put me in your prayers, and I thank God for y'all. But it's time for you, friend. It's time for you to plant those seeds. And if you have already been planting those seeds, then when are you going to enjoy your harvest? You got to stop like giving your business the cold shoulder. Living in America, I understand when you wake up every day, you feel like you're in a pressure cooker. That's simply because that country is all about consumerism. That's capitalism. That's what it is. When you wake up, you truly believe that you need to get gas and get a Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts coffee every day because it's physically in your face every day. You truly believe that you need to go to Target or Walmart every day. You truly believe that, and you don't. You're going to have to start asking God to have a peace of mind and to help guide you on the destiny that he has for you. And I promise you, the righteous way is the best way possible, no matter how hard it gets. Okay. Being an entrepreneur is a spiritual journey. There is going to be times where you are not going to make any money. And what you going to do? Fold and put in a job application? You can't do that, hun. And there's no going back to your job, because once you subscribe back to that old job that you used to work at, or once you go back to that life, babe, you're going backwards, not forward. You're not even putting faith into what you're building. Being an entrepreneur is truly a journey of faith, determination, and belief. All right. And if you've been having a true challenge with just moving forward or putting your best foot forward or just moving and you feel like you're stuck, some of y'all have to pray them cankerworms off of you. There's some spirits out here that do hold your destiny. There's spirits out here that do not want you to be great, because they know that when you actually move forward, you, with the person with a good heart, you are actually going to put that money towards helping your family, helping kids go to school, helping the community. You are actually going to do right by it. So yes, it is a spiritual journey. There are spirits that don't want you to make that money, that don't want you to be a millionaire. You know, that is one thing that I kind of don't like about Instagram business owners, right? And what I mean by that is Instagram entrepreneurs, because a lot of them, I'm going to say this and then we'll get out of here. A lot of them are fraudsters, period. A lot of them do fraud. A lot of them do fraud. A lot of them people you see on Instagram with all this, get a 50K loan here. Oh, I run this rental car business. Oh, I run this Airbnb business. Honey, they are doing things that, honey, it don't even sit right with your spirit. They are doing stuff, okay? Especially women who, oh, I live this luxury soft girl life, but you don't never see a woman inside of, I'm sorry, you don't never see a man inside of their videos and stuff, honey. That girl is going to Dubai and she is doing some ungodly things that I know you would never accept in your life. There's a lot of those people on social media, especially Instagram, okay? But for the ones like that, you know that God has his hand on them, people like Pinky Cole and some other, entrepreneurs, they talk more about God and they tell you about the spiritual journey. But I wish that a lot more, we were a louder bunch. Let me say that. I wish us as the entrepreneurs who are following Christ and keeping God first, and we're doing business and Bible, I wish we was much louder, because man, it ain't nothing to play with. You have some of you guys have probably already seen this on social media. I don't know if y'all know these rappers and stuff, but like Boston Richie and his girlfriend Tatiana, they do African rituals, money rituals. It's like it's been going viral. It went viral, what, 2 weeks ago or a week ago? Can you imagine? Such a beautiful girl that you see on Fashion Nova and you see on Shane Justin, and she does all these modelings for all of these, fashion designers and stuff. Such a beautiful young girl. She's like 20 years old, 19, 20, right? She's so young and doing African rituals for money, doing African rituals to steal other people's boyfriends. The girl text messages came out. And then how were you influenced to do that? Because your rapper boyfriend, who also did an African ritual on you so you could be with that, so you could stay with him, who has some sort of soul tie on you. That is a dangerous game. So don't be trying to follow people on Instagram and make yourself feel some type of way about, like, what they have and what you don't have. No, that's what the devil wants to put in your face. You making you feel like, oh, you should be doing this. You need a Stanley Cup. You ain't nothing if you don't have a 2025, 2026 car, brand new car. If you don't have the latest iPhone 17, then you broke, you this and that. Listen, people's opinions don't pay your bills. People's opinions don't cash a check. Simple. All right. And you can't listen to that. You have to stay focused on the destiny that God has for you. And that means shutting out the whispers of the wicked. Okay. Cool. That's just a little bit of motivation for you. I would love for you guys to, just take heed in that. I know we talk more about grants and stuff, but business is what it is. Business is spiritual. I am a part of the body of Christ. I'm a Christian. And a true believer. And this entire journey has brought me even closer to God. And I want that same experience for you. But there are you should be aware that there are spiritual things that happen that you probably don't even know in your own family foundation that is stopping you from being able to grow as an entrepreneur or even get started. Okay. So if you're having those challenges, we can always talk about it, friend. I'll pray for you. All right. So yeah. One comment says, I'm anticipating Grantfully is it launching officially on the 17th. So with my platform Grantfully, if you guys don't know, I have a platform called Grantfully. Grantfully is a grant search engine, and it's going to be a platform where you can simply click on a grant that you like, that you found through the grant search engine. You'll add it to your cart and just pay $30 to have somebody submit a grant application for you. Um, what I'm doing right now is that I'm actually applying to grants for you. It's $37 per grant application. That's what I'm doing as a to help out with Grantfully. But at this moment, because we're in the beginning of 2026, there are new signups and new licensing and stuff that has to be done, which costs money. Okay. And also I'm in a beta testing. I thought I would be out of beta testing, but I'm still in that phase because so much has to be updated and have to be within compliance for you guys in the United States. Okay. So it takes time. So right now the launch date is pending, but you still get the ability to have someone to submit a grant application for you for just $37. It's cheap. It's very affordable. On average, a grant writer can cost you $500 to $1,000. Sometimes the lowest on the lower end will be $300 per application. But I decided to do this for all startups and small business owners so you all can have a chance at having someone who is professionally trained to submit the grant application for you. And also it makes it so much easier. You don't have to search for the grants yourself. You don't have to apply to the grant yourself. Okay. So I do have that offer for you guys. So just let me know in the chat if that's something you're interested in. If you're watching this YouTube video afterwards, I want to thank you so much for coming this far. We're past like an hour in this live stream. So thank you so much for coming this far. My link and everything is in the chat, in the description below. All of my information is there. So you can always reach out. Okay. Thank you very much for the congratulations. I really do appreciate it. I need to hear this. Thank you. You're very welcome. You want to know more? Okay, so I'll want to know more about what specifically about. Oh, okay. You want to sign up for the $37 per grant application? Cool. You can text hashtag Grantfully to 855-731-1487. I'll put my number here in the chat. If you guys want, here you go. It's Grantfully. I think I definitely spelled it wrong. Sorry, but I'll know what you're saying when you're texting that. So yeah, for just $37 per grant application, and there are 100,000 over millions of dollars right now for all startups and small business owners. Yesterday, I went over like about 5 grant opportunities that you guys can go for. But when you text the word Grantfully to 855-731-1487, I just pinned it at the top of the chat and I just put it in the chat for you. So you can screenshot it. We're about to head out of this live stream, so go ahead and screenshot it. But when you text the word Grantfully to my number, I'm actually going to send you the direct link to go ahead and select the grant that you're interested in. And you can go ahead and pay the $37 and then we'll submit the grant for you today. Okay. No less than 24 hours. There is a form you'll have to fill out so I can know the name of the business and all the information necessary. And then we'll go ahead and submit the grant for you. Okay. I really do appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention today. May God bless all of you. I'm going to be on here tomorrow. So same time tomorrow, friend. Yeah, it's February. It's full of love, full of peace, full of happiness, full of joy, and full of consistency. I wanted to take I took the entire January focusing on the development for Grantfully. I wanted to take the entire February to show you guys some love and to let you guys know that I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm your grant consultant. I'm the person that will search and apply to grants for you. Free money that you can get and your business deserves. So why not go for it? You're not wasting time. All right. When you're applying to grants, there's so many perks and deals and community support that comes from submitting grant applications. So why not go for them? Okay. Grants is free money that you simply don't have to pay back. There's no credit checks and no personal information needed. So why not go ahead and submit a grant application or have me, an 11-year experience, multi-million-dollar winning grant writer, 71% successful grant writer, that would submit a grant application for you and help you increase your chances of winning. Okay, so I will see you guys tomorrow around the same time, and we'll talk more. Okay, peace and blessings, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye for now.